Hello nerds and welcome to a mumbling video on the JamesKosmo channel. Subscribe if you care. Anyhow, so this is gonna be a very quick video because what frame drops, hello, anyhow. Like I originally had this video going on for like 20 minutes, but no, we do not need that. I'm gonna strip it down to the essentials. Alright, so the whole point is that I have not played VR in a long time, and I think I know the issue. So currently on the video game market, on the VR video game market, we have all the PvP games that you might want. We have every single one. We have Call of Duty for VR, we have Battlefield for VR, although people don't play it. We just fell and died, but we're in creative, everything is fine anyhow. Let's see what we get. Amazing. Anyhow, we got sidetracked. So yeah, basically for PvP you have everything. Everything from Call of Duty all the way to Valorant, and some of them are free video games. Alright, so this is covered, this is fine. We have Ghost of Tabor, we can play VR forever if we want PvP. Excuse me, cow, I'm making a video, this is not, alright, I'm leaving, I'm out of here. Then, obviously, if you know anything about VR, you know about Boneworks and Bone Lab. Alright, basically what happened is Boneworks was the most amazing video game that you could ever ask for VR, and it was basically kind of Gmod for VR, but worse because it was the first game of its kind. So obviously it's gonna be a little bit bad, but it was the best VR game, and I still think to this day that Boneworks is the best video game for VR. Anyhow, later they released Bone Lab, which is basically Boneworks but for standalone, which is worst. And when I say it out loud, it sounds very logical, because in case you don't know what is happening, basically standalone, it means that it runs by itself. So it's a headset that runs by itself, basically the Oculus Quest. And the Oculus Quest 2 and 3 and whatever. That means that if you want to port a game from PC VR to standalone, you need to make some deductions from the graphics or from the systems or whatever you think is necessary to make it run. Now, from games made in 2017, it was not a huge issue because they were not really heavy games, so they get ported very goodly, I guess. But Boneworks, being a relatively new game, a brand new game, and being extremely heavy on physics, could not run on the Quest. It just could not do it. It was basically impossible. You can't do that. It's like running ray tracing on a PS2. It's impossible. So they're like, alright, we need to optimize the bad word out of this. And so they did. So they made a worse Boneworks for standalone. But for some ungodly reason, the whole VR community, and I have to admit, even I at the beginning was like extremely wrong about it, but I did not make a video that millions of people saw, saying that it is gonna be better in every single way, and it's gonna be the best VR game that has ever happened, and it's gonna be the next Gmod of VR. That is obviously wrong, since how is it gonna be better if it has to run on standalone? Anyhow, so people believed that, and honestly that did a bunch of damage to the game, because people actually thought that it's gonna be somehow better than Boneworks, and they got disappointed when it wasn't. Anyhow, but that left a huge hole on the market, which is, I guess, Gmod. I do not know how to explain it, but it's basically physics-based games, alright? Physics-based games that can do everything and anything. Because basically in Boneworks you could do anything that you can imagine. So people now are thirsting over a video game like that, are thirsting for the peak of video gaming for everyone in VR. And obviously that is not going to happen in 2 or 3 years. You have to develop this game for 5+ years if you really want it to be the next Gmod, since you need your own physics engine, or you need to tweak Unreal's or Unity's physics engine a bunch to make it work, and all that junk, basically. That is the main issue, alright? People thought, and they were not wrong, that there is a huge, hole on the market, and they tried to capitalize off of it. So now you have every single game developer making the next Gmod for VR. Why? Are we insane? Are we out of our minds? And keep in mind, that's an incredibly hard thing to do, and even if you succeed on doing it, so will like 5 other people, and when your games compete in the market, one of them, maybe 2, will become victorious and earn a buttload of money. But we can all understand that there is no way for all the video games to win, right? It's like here in the like survival game genre, where you have Vintage Story, you have now Hytale, you have 4J Studios making their own game, which I do not know how it's called, and like 5 more that are obviously not gonna all succeed, especially now that Hytale got announced, because it's the same thing that is happening on the VR side of things happens here right now on the voxel survival game side of things. Basically, Hytale was Bone Lab, because you see what happened is Hytale got cancelled, so everyone was like, oh my god, who is gonna be the next Minecraft for gaming? And every developer was like, I will be. And then Bone Lab came along and destroyed their dreams and hopes. Anyhow, the same thing is happening in VR. Basically, Bone Labs, I mean, it's a tiny bit different, but it's basically the same thing. Bone Labs was supposed to 100% be this amazing thing that is the G mode of VR, and it wasn't, so everybody was like, I'm gonna be the next one. No, you won't. No, you will, statistically speaking, you will not be the one. If you're listening to this, if all the developers listen to this, one or two of you will be right, the rest of you will be wrong, therefore, you are losers. Anyhow, is that logic? Does that logic track? Now, why am I saying this though? I'm saying it because since everybody trying to make the next G mode, we have a huge other gap. And no, it's not PvP. No, it's not rhythm games. It is story games. Why are people not making story games for VR? And let me tell you this: not just story games, because honestly, I would not play them if it was just story. Online story games. We've seen the success of Arizona Sunshine. It was the pinnacle of VR gaming, like an actual VR game, not Beat Saber, which is an amazing game. But you know what I mean? It's not a story game. It's basically a mini game. You understand, right? It's a rhythm game. It's not a full experience in VR. I do not know if what I'm saying like it makes sense. I do not want to get stabbed by Beat Saber people, especially since they can, use blades that I don't know where I'm going with this joke. Let's make this day. That's better. Also, I'm clearing the weather because of YouTube compression. We've seen the success of Arizona and Arizona Sunshine 2. These games did not. I mean, Arizona Sunshine 2 kind of made huge innovations with the melee combat, but it's not the same as Boneworks. You do not need to reinvent the wheel in order to make a good, successful VR game that is not PvP. It does not have to be PvP, guys. It could be co-op, and in fact, I think that co-op games will succeed more in making money than PvP games, because you can charge more than a story game than for a PvP game. I'm fine with paying $25, for example, to play with my friends a story mode that, like, for example, Arizona was 5 hours long if you knew what you were doing, so maybe not that short, even shorter actually. If you make like a 20-hour, 10-hour story, I'm willing to pay $25 if I can play with my friends in VR and the mechanics don't completely suck, alright? So I do not even want to have like a fully realized weapon system with realistic reloads and stuff like that. Arizona just had one button press. You would go into your belt with ammo and your gun would reload automatically. And it was fine. Was it amazing? No, it wasn't. But it was more than fine, more than acceptable. It does not make the game unplayable in any way. So instead of developers spending like half their budget and like 1/3 of their time into making one singular system like guns a thing, maybe instead of doing that, just make extremely simple guns and then make an incredible story. Because that, at the end of the day, I think is what VR is made for. Or at least I think it's a bigger part of it. Like the idea of virtual reality is that you live another reality, but it's virtual. Yeah, I know, right? So instead of everyone trying to make, reality into VR with perfect physics and perfect everything, instead of doing that and failing, you can just simulate it, dude. You can just not have amazing physics. You can just make a simple story, co-op video game. And trust me, if you have a good idea and you have cool graphics and you have, voice acting, it will be amazing. So let me know in the comments what is your opinion on this. Are you just a PvP nerd and you don't care about it? Do you not have any friends that play VR? And if you do they care about story things? Because I'm a sucker for those, dude. And I think many people are considering their success rate in the VR market. Subscribe, nerds.